What's up, everybody? So, it was interesting. I was thinking about what's been on my mind the last few days, and it's been, for some reason, this, anybody ever heard of John Forbes Nash? Russell Crowe played him in A Beautiful Mind. If you've never seen the movie, watch it. But if you ever get the chance, read the book that it was based on. And as a person who reads a lot of books and studied the art of intellectual warfare, especially in the concepts of public social destruction or clandestine social destruction, studying the mechanisms of how people of inferior nature identify a target and then subconsciously, or usually it's subconsciously because only the inferior cowards are actually afraid of anything. So as I was going into the book, I came across this organization called the RAND Corporation. And the RAND Corporation was a derivative of the Institute of Advanced Studies from Princeton, which is basically where the greatest minds had gotten together, and they facilitated radar. They facilitated the atom bomb. Oppenheimer went there. The address is literally one Einstein. Einstein founded it, right? It was the research think tank of concept and strategy, mathematically, for any subject, no academic structure, pure research. And the greatest minds coming together. Basically, it was supposed to be Plato's Academy in America. Well, based on that, started doing some considering, and one name kept coming up, and then the name was Douglas MacArthur. And if anybody's ever, done any research on Douglas MacArthur, MacArthur overthrew Japan. He was the U.S. Army commander of forces in the Pacific. Now, that wouldn't be significant, except he had 2 medals of honor. He was a 5-star general, and he had ambitions to run for political office. He was a Republican. And based on research, my opinion, and anyone's willing to dispute it openly in public, I'm willing to open a public debate. We can have a debate about it. MacArthur is the one who educated our current politicians on the operation of clandestine, subversive political warfare strategy. Now, here's the tactics that MacArthur used. MacArthur created a list of people he called communists, and most of the targets were people that had an intelligent, logical nature greater than him. He was politically targeting, and they used the FBI along with other mechanisms of inferior political Congress to wage war on the academics that have facilitated the winning of World War II, because the academics had started to get recognition for their intelligence in the protection of America. And it was the minds in America that actually facilitated the winning of World War II, just as much as it was the boots on the ground. So MacArthur comes up with this list. There's a list of people he put on it. In my opinion, when you make a list like that and you don't put a grand jury together, especially a veteran grand jury that fought in the war to determine yes or no, but you leave it in the hands of political jockeying douchebags like that abomination that sits up there in their stupidity, or sits in there, over there. They're not up there, they're over there, because they're not above. They're actually exiled. The new Declaration of Independence exiled them. They're no longer part of America. So, but anyways, it's a whole nother story. And they never were. What you do is you make a list, and then you feed it to a investigative service that you have control over, namely 1950 FBI, and then they start investigations. And the ones you can't get by that, you initiate Senate investigations. So, and then basically you dismantle and you create alternate concepts of reality using the media to destroy that person's public and social reputations, isolating them. And a lot of times isolating them, if you look back at the scientists that actually worked on it, a lot of them committed suicide. But if you look at the investigations that they had and the accusations, they actually committed suicide because their entire construct of professional reputation and social structure have been destroyed by these clandestine operators. So I think the Bible calls it scheming. The village, the devil of the village, is scheming. They are afraid of your questions because they're cowards. They are afraid of your expansion to the preservation and cleansing of your soul because they're inferior. And they are afraid that you might actually enter or get into their political space that they have walled off for themselves and their fellow co-worshipped until they do something wrong and they target. So they took the best minds in America and made sure that they would never fulfill Plato's Republic. And if you read the 10 books of Plato's Republic, it says, it's basically not the socialites, it's the ones that are intelligent with logic and reason that are willing to question the action that should be in charge. Not the emotional train wreck puppy dog delusional dipshits that seem to worm their way or spiral their way to the top using constituents and mixed words without real definitions, like person versus individual, American citizen versus United States, and foreign national versus American national, because there are no U.S. nationals. But I figured I'd leave that. Oh, one last thing, the grand finale. So if the model's true and the behavior is the same, and if they can't get you off yourself and they can't drive you into a hole where you won't talk anymore, then they're going to have to remove you from the equation by kinetic operation. Sound familiar? And by the way, they are anybody who stands to lose from your intelligence putting their delusional political construct at risk. That's who they are. So here's the question. Based on all that, what do you call a communist from 1950 on MacArthur's list and his propaganda in 2025? What do you call him? You call him a Christian nationalist or a conservative. Change the name. Behavior's the same. They can't even come up with something new. Someone has to show them. And Douglas MacArthur showed them political clandestine warfare. God bless. Godspeed.